Welcome back to Good Sports for You, where we are talking about good sports for you. And today we're going into our second playoff preview, and we are going to your Philadelphia Phillies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down a little bit. I'm going to go over just my initial reactions to the Phillies team, what I'm feeling in my gut. Then we're going to look a little bit at the good, the bad, and the stuff that's kind of okay. And then we're going to dive into the lineups a little bit. And then finally, I'm going to end off with some reactions and some predictions. But before we get into it, I want to remind you to like, comment, subscribe. We're going to try to knock out all these playoff teams, so make sure to stay in tune for all those coming up real soon. So with this Phillies team, just like my gut reaction is that it's a good team. I think it's a well-constructed team. I think they have good hitters. I think they have good pitching. Obviously, that's just very broad, right? So I want to break it down a little bit about why I think they're a good team. And honestly, the reason I like them is for the exact reason that I had questions about the Milwaukee Brewers. With the Brewers, I said they're a very even and well-constructed team, but they don't have that guy. The Phillies have that guy. The Phillies have a guy where basically it's like, okay, if you get it to this part in the lineup, you know that we got a really good shot to win. And that's Kyle Schwarber. Kyle Schwarber is having his best season ever, which is something for Kyle Schwarber that's really good. He's in MVP conversations as a DH alone. I mean, he's not going to win it because of Shohei Ohtani and everything like that. But when you have a guy that's like that, you just feel so much better with him on your team, because he can turn the whole entire game around with one swing of the bat. On top of that, too, you also have Bryce Harper, and I will always like Bryce Harper. He's Bryce Harper, he's a playoff performer. He's been in the league for so long. He's had this hype for so long, and he's lived up to it. So anytime you have Bryce Harper on your team, I feel like you're going to be in a good position. And on top of that, they have a really, really good starting pitching rotation. Zach Wheeler is out, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. But you still look at their rotation, and you're like, wow, this is really, really solid. So as a whole, I definitely think that they're a team that can compete and honestly get a chance to win a series, win two series, have a chance to get to the World Series and potentially win it all. And I'm going to break that down for you a little bit real quick. So first, we're going to start off about the good. And I said that they had a good pitching staff, and I wasn't lying. They're third in strikeouts per nine. They're second in walks per nine, which leads to the best strikeout to walk ratio in the entire MLB. And honestly, it isn't even that close. So they're not letting people on base via a walk. You don't want free passes in the playoffs. Everyone knows that. They're only going to lead to runs. Leadoff walks lead to leadoff runs. We all know that. And on top of that, they're striking people out. And the thing that I like about that is you don't have to worry about their defense. Their defense isn't something that I'm extremely confident in. But the good news is you don't have to worry about your defense doing anything if you don't put the ball in play. So here's what we're going to do. We're not going to put the ball in play. That seems like a great idea to me. So they're striking out people. They're not letting people on base for free. Like, you really want that in any playoff team, in any team, honestly, and it's definitely going to be a key part to their success. On top of that, they're currently fourth in saves, which I was a little bit surprised about, if I'm being 100% honest. Their bullpen has always been something that in their playoff runs, you've been like, I don't know about this Phillies bullpen. So to see that they were fourth in saves, I was kind of surprised about. But that's good. Saves aren't the perfect stat, but you still want them. You'd rather be higher up in saves than a bunch of blown saves. So you like that for the Phillies. But then you're going to get into the stuff, in my opinion, that really separates this team from the rest of the other playoff crop, and that is the bats. They are sixth in runs scored. They're second in batting average. They're fourth in on-base percentage. They're third in slugging, which leads to third in OPS. So as a whole, this team is just hitting the ball around. No matter what you look at, if you're more traditional, you're like, okay, do they score runs? Yes, they score runs. Do they have a good batting average? Yes, they have a good batting average. If you're a little bit more of a modern guy and you're like, okay, well, do they get on base? Yes, they get on base. Okay, well, are they hitting home runs? Yes, they are hitting home runs. Like, as a whole, this team is just really well constructed for hitting the ball well, which I think is extremely important. So you got good pitching, you got good hitting, and then also one thing I was really shocked by is they are fourth in the least amount of errors in the MLB. Now, I will say errors are not a perfect stat. I've gone over this before, so take that with a grain of salt, but I'd rather have less errors than have more errors. It's just the way it is. And then the final good thing that I wanted to highlight with this Phillies team is they have a very good winning percentage against teams over 500. They are currently 45 and 34 against teams over 500. Those are the teams that you're going to be facing in the playoffs, so obviously you want to perform well against them, and they have. That is huge. Next, I want to go into the things that I'm like, okay, it's not bad, but it's definitely not good. So the things that you want to keep an eye out for. They're 8th in home runs, which, again, I was surprised by. I thought that they would have been a little higher, but 8th is not bad at all. It's something that I can definitely live with. It was a lot better than the Brewers, who were like 20th. So I'm fine with 8th. Would I like it to be higher for this team? Obviously, you obviously want to hit more home runs. They're 10th in walks, so they're getting on base with the free pass a good amount. And honestly, when you have a batting average that high, I'm not extremely concerned about the walks, but obviously you want more walks than you don't want more walks. It's just pretty plain and simple. So they're kind of middle of the road. They're 10th in the best team ERA in the MLB. Again, it's good. It's not fantastic. Would I want them to give up less runs? Obviously. You don't want to give up runs. That's pretty clear cut. But again, with the amount of people that they're striking out, I feel like that honestly is something that translates to the playoffs a little bit better. Like, you want those strikeouts. And, if your defense just steps it up a little bit, I could definitely see their ERA going down in the playoffs. So definitely something to keep an eye out for. They're 12th in the least amount of strikeouts for batters. So they're not swinging and missing a ton in strikeouts. They're kind of middle of the road. Like, you don't love it. You don't hate it. Would you like to strike out less? Yes, obviously, and honestly, realistically, you're going to be facing better pitching in the playoffs, so you could expect that strikeout percentage to probably go up a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised. They're 12th in stolen bases, and they're 8th in base running runs. You want more of that. And I know that this is in the okay slot, but for the teams that I like, I want them to run the bases better. 12th in stolen bases is too low for me personally for a playoff team. Like, you want to be taking advantage of every single extra base. And 8th in base running runs is good. It's actually pretty darn good, but you want to be better. That is one thing that I'm hammering home. Take the extra base, go for stolen bases. Obviously run smart, do all those things, because in the playoffs, it's those things that you can clean up around the edge that can give you that edge going on into the future, into the games. And a stolen base is demoralizing for a team. For a catcher, if you get a stolen base on you in a close game, that hurts. And honestly, that's something that the Phillies can definitely improve on. And I hope that they do. I wish that they would. They're 11th in home runs allowed, which is another thing that is a little bit concerning because home runs in the playoffs matter a ton. Like I talked about with the Brewers, I'm talking about it right now with the Phillies. The Phillies hit a good amount of home runs, but they also give up a decent amount of home runs. And when you're facing teams that are going to be hitting more home runs in the playoffs, you're going to see that number go up. You're not facing the Rockies. You're not facing the White Sox. You're going to be facing teams like the Dodgers who are hitting a bunch of home runs. So I think that they need to get that in check, definitely for sure. They're 10th in WHIP, which is solid, which is good. I don't want to delve too much into that. But basically, they don't let a ton of guys on base. They let some guys on base. I mean, you're not giving up a lot of free passes with the walks. Their hits allowed then is a little bit higher. That's just the way it is. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that when we go into opponent batting average. So, the WHIP, obviously you want to be better, but it's not the worst thing in the world. One thing that I have in the okay is that they barely have a winning percentage on the road. They're 41-40. That's concerning, honestly, because when you're facing these teams in the playoffs, you need to win a game on the road in order to stay alive. You just do. In order to win the series, they're not going to have home field advantage the whole entire playoffs. Probably, most likely, they're probably going to end up in the 2. So if the Brewers advance and the Phillies advance, the Brewers are going to have the home field advantage, so the Phillies need to win one on the road. And also they're going to need to win some on the road in the ALDS. That's just the way that it is in baseball. So you'll want to get that a little bit higher than 500. You can't rely on that, especially if you're facing a team that has a really good home field advantage. But with that being said, they have a really good home field advantage. So kind of evens out, but I do not trust the road record for the Phillies at all right now. Definitely a major concern for me. And then we're going to get into the things that are bad. They're tied for 17th in opponent batting average. That's not good. You don't want to be giving up hits, and they're kind of giving up hits. They make up for it with the walks, but they're giving up hits, right? They're 21st in fielding run values, and they're 23rd in outs above average. That's bad. That's bad for a playoff team. They're not fielding the ball well. Like, yes, they have low errors, but errors are kind of a fake stat, blah, 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 blah. But your players aren't getting to the balls that they need to get to, and that is a concern. Especially when you have a team that has such a strong starting pitching. If you want the starting pitching to be successful, which you need in the playoffs, you need your starters to go late into the games. You need your defense to be picking up the slack. And when you're in the 20s for fielding run value and for outs above average, that's unacceptable. They need to pick it up. I mean, Nick Castellanos, when you look at the advanced metrics, has always been known as one of the worst outfield defenders. Players need to pick it up. Sometimes I see like clips of them making like flashy plays sometimes, and they're like, see, Nick Castellanos is still good on the defensive side of the ball. That's because he ran 2 feet and had to dive. A player who's speedy and can get there on time isn't going to have to dive. It's long conversation about fielding. Maybe that'll be another video, but it's kind of like the Derek Jeter effect, where Derek Jeter has to make the flashy play because he doesn't have the range. A player who has the range and the arm strength doesn't need to do all that because they don't need to make the jump throw and everything like that. So regardless, though, not good fielding by the Phillies. They need to pick it up. Probably the biggest concern that I have for them as a team going into the playoffs, and it's definitely scary. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the lineups in the bullpen. One thing that I like about them is that they have a pretty solidified lineup. It is boom, boom, boom. Catcher, you have JT Realmuto. And then the thing about this lineup is they are all guys that you know. Like you're going down this line, you're like, oh yeah, I know him. Oh, I know him. I know him. I know him. He's an all-star. He's an MVP caliber player, or used to be an MVP caliber player, or they're just a solid everyday player. But regardless, back to it. JT Realmuto, experienced, talented catcher, one of the best catchers of our generation. You love him behind the dish. First base, Bryce Harper. I don't think he needs an introduction. Baseball prodigy growing up, has lived up to the hype, 2-time MVP winner, has the playoff experience. He's a dog. First base, you have Bryson Stott. Again, a very good player. He has playoff experience, solid bat all around, good player. Third base, you have Alec Boehm. Again, he's a good bat. He's not a great defender, but he has playoff experience. Playoff experience is huge. Love that for them. Trey Turner. However, Trey Turner is hurt right now. I think he's projected to make it back around playoff time, but you never know with injuries. So for right now, I'm just saying that he's not going to be playing. But if he does, like later in the playoffs and stuff like that, again, very, very talented player. You like Trey Turner. He has a ton of playoff experience. He has World Baseball Classic experience, which I think is huge. He knows what it's like to play on the biggest stage. And even if he is going to be hurt the whole entire playoffs, which fingers crossed that he isn't, obviously I hope he gets back as soon as possible. But he's still going to be in the clubhouse, and he's still going to know what it takes to fire the guys up. Over in the outfield, primarily in left field, you have Max Kepler and Brandon Marsh, although Max Kepler has been playing a little bit less. Because in center field, you have Brandon Marsh, Johan Rojas, and Harrison Bader. Harrison Bader, since the trade from the Twins, he's had a fantastic season, so he's been playing a lot of center field. Brandon Marsh has been playing some left field. So Max Kepler isn't playing as much, so it's like you got a nice little outfield there. And then in right field, you have Nick Castellanos. You know what Nick Castellanos is going to do. He's going to hit a bunch of doubles, and he's a good player. He's a bad defender, but he's a great hitter. And honestly, it's like hitting, you need it in the playoffs. Do I wish his defense was better? Obviously, I wish his defense was better. I don't think that's saying anything new for anyone, but you still like him in right field. He's still a plus player. And then at DH, you have Kyle Schwarber. Kyle Schwarber's a dog. He's having his best season ever. If it wasn't for Shohei Ohtani, he may be MVP number 1 right now. The thing is he is that guy. He is that guy that if you say, hey, it's the bottom of the 9th, we just need to get to him, and I feel good about our chances of winning. Let's say you're down 2, and you got, let's say, Trey Turner, Nick Castellanos, Bryce Harper, and then Kyle Schwarber. All I would want as a Phillies fan, I say we just need one guy to get on base. We just need one guy to get on base, and I feel like we can win this game or take it to extra innings because we have Kyle Schwarber having his best season ever. And also, he has a ton of playoff experience. He is a dog. He is somebody that you want when you enter October. If you're trying to make it to the World Series, Kyle Schwarber is the guy that you want on your team. In addition to all that, on their bench, they have Edwin Sosa, and also Harrison Bader has been kind of on the bench. He's been playing some outfield and stuff like that. Edwin Sosa has been great. He plays all over the place. He plays basically every single position, and he's been having an awesome season. Why wouldn't you want that on your bench? Their lineup is deep. You're looking at that entire lineup, and you're basically looking at 1 through 9, and you're like, oh, there's not a break. If I'm a starting pitcher, I'm looking at that, I'm saying, oh, wow, I am in it for the long haul today. That's awesome for the Phillies. I love that for them. Looking over at the rotation, again, like you're looking at this rotation, you're saying, oh my goodness. Christopher Sanchez, Cy Young candidate, top 3, top 5 in Cy Young easily. Wasn't an all-star this year because Jacob Mezrowski made it. I'm a Brewers fan. I have opinions on that. It's aged extremely poorly. Christopher Sanchez should have been the all-star, not Jacob Mezrowski. But you know, it is what it is. Jesus Luzardo had an awesome season. Ranger Suarez has had an awesome season. That's 3 guys. If you're in the NLDS, you say, hey, we need to win 3 games. You're running those 3 guys out. That's a manager's perfect scenario. In your 4, you have Taijuan Walker. And Taijuan Walker, like, he's fine. He's a 4 pitcher. He really just is. He'll get some innings in, and that'll be that. Like, you don't hate that. And then in your last spot, you have Aaron Nola. And that's... he hasn't had a great season, but he's still a talented arm. He's still a workhorse. Like, he's so up and down for his career. He's been so awesome one year, and then he's like been almost one of the worst pitchers in baseball. I don't understand him. But the thing is that if you're going to the NLCS, if you've pitched in 4 games in a row, and you've pitched Sanchez, Luzardo, Suarez, and Walker, and you say, hey, Aaron Nola, we need you to go out in game 1. You just need to preserve the bullpen. I wouldn't be upset with Aaron Nola giving me 7 innings and 5 runs. Honestly, like, that's not the worst thing in the world if you can have him do that. So then once your dogs come back, you can say, okay, now we got 3 guys in a row that we feel extremely confident in, and Taijuan Walker can at least give us a chance to win. You like that. The biggest blow for this entire team, though, easily, has been Zach Wheeler out for the entire season and for the postseason. He had to get surgery, like, awful. And that blows because Zach Wheeler is so good. Like, he's been a Cy Young candidate multiple seasons. And with him out, that definitely takes a hurt to the rotation. I mean, because, like I said, it's like your 5 spot right now is Aaron Nola, which you don't love. If you had Zach Wheeler there, your top 4 would have been like all-star caliber starting pitchers. So with Zach Wheeler gone, that just hurts. And you don't love that at all. But, I mean, it is the way that it is. And, I mean, the Phillies, they're finding ways to get it done, and that's fine. You look over at the bullpen, and the bullpen is a little bit where you're like, okay. You have Johan Duran, who's really good. He's really good. He has a killer fastball, so it's like, you're good there. You have Tanner Banks, you have Matt Strom, you have Orion Kierkeling, and you have Jordan Romano, who's been on the IL, and also dreadful. He may come back, I don't know. So it's like, you don't have a deep bullpen. You got some guys who are good. You got some guys who are okay. That's kind of where I'm struggling right now with this Phillies team. Because the thing is that in the playoffs, like, the games get shortened. They just do. Teams are going to find ways to try to chase your starter as soon as possible. If you're used to Christopher Sanchez going 7, he may only go 5. That's just the way it is. You need your bullpen to step up. We'll see what they do. We'll see if they try to convert some starters to the bullpen to try to make things work. But we're going to see what's going to happen. And that's the part that I'm most scared about. And also, Jose Alvarado, who has been their closer in the past, he got suspended for PEDs, and now he's ineligible for the playoffs. And also, he's on the IL. That's a huge blow to the team to not have a quality, high-leverage pitcher for you. So, like I said, like, the bullpen is a little bit shaky. So as a whole, when I'm looking at this Phillies team, and the question that I have in my mind is this a team that I think can win the World Series? The answer is yes. The lineup is stacked. It has such a good 1 through 9, and they have guys that are the guys. You know, they have the dogs. They have the people where you say, if we can get to him, I feel like we can win this game. You look over at the rotation, their 1 through 3 can go up against anyone easily. Their 1 through 4, even with Taijuan Walker, can go against basically anyone's 1 through 4. That's a killer rotation, and you love that. Their bullpen is where they lack. But if I had to make an honest, like, what would you say your prediction is I think they're going to make the World Series. I don't know if they can win it. I could see them winning it, but I would have them making it. they're such a good team. They're hard to deny. Their fielding needs to pick it up, though. If their fielding falls apart, that will end their season. It's not an if, it's a will. Like, if they can't field well, it will end their season. They will not perform well in the playoffs if they cannot field better. I wish they ran the bases better as well, and I wish that they had a better bullpen. But that is what it is. So honestly, like I said, it's like this is a team I could see making it to the World Series, have a chance to win it, but I would put it, there's a good chance I could see them coming out of the NL just because their lineup is so deep and their rotation is so good. So that's what I got to say. I hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for more playoff previews coming your way. This has been Good Sports for You. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all those good things, and I'm out.